Yeah, let's do it.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Budgy Smugglers.
Hey, we're
That's
back.
Jeremy, Dooley. I'm Stephen Bradshaw. What's been going on, Dools? How are you, mate?
I'm doing great. It's been a good week.
Has it?
Lots been happening. It's been a good week in sport. It's been a good week in just comedy and life. Had a couple of good shows.
Amazing.
Had some corporates, so that's always good. Where was I last week? From last week, where was I? Oh, I had a cool gig. I had a gig get cancelled.
Yes.
Because the promoter had double booked the venue, and so I lost out. But that's fine. Oh, look, I got to admit, sometimes we love that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
What do you sometimes, because you're gearing up, but there's some nights where that happens, a gig gets cancelled and you're kind of dirty, but there's been a lot of nights where it's like a gig gets cancelled last minute as well.
Yeah.
The bags might already be packed. You might have not left the house and someone sends a message to the group, hey guys, I'm so sorry. We're going to have to cancel tonight. And oh, baby, it feels good.
It's so good. So good. So that was fun. Wednesday night, I was in Hastings at Smart Brothers Brewery in Hastings. That was a hot show. That was... it was myself, Katie Wainhouse, and Dave Hughes, and it was a fantastic gig. It was a hot audience. Everyone was super, super into it. We had some great people in the front row, got some gifts from the audience as well.
Got some gifts?
Yeah, people, which has been a cool thing that's happened. I guess it's one of those things you don't really know your reach as a performer sometimes through social media, through this medium. But people rocked up with some baby clothes, which was cool.
Oh, that's very cool.
And a very nice card. So thank you to them.
Fun fact, Hastings is thought to be named after a fishing town in England or the British Imperial Administrator Warren Hastings.
Probably that one.
Yeah,
Warren.
probably that one. And as previously known as Kings Creek and Star Point. And its post office opened on the 4th of February, 1863.
That's... Oh, I think all of those names are better.
I interrupted your story to say that, but something spoke to me about that.
No, it was. I think all of those names are better. I hazard a guess. Like, if you've never been to Hastings, like historically, bit of a sketchy sort of area on the peninsula.
Is it? I don't know about that because in 2004, Hastings was the overall winner of the Victorian Tidy Town Awards held by the Keep Australia Beautiful Network.
Do you know why, though? Because there's a lot of people doing community service in Hastings. And to be fair, probably not a lot of people from Hastings in the actual gig. I think there was a lot of people from Flinders, Merricks, Red Hill,
I love Flinders.
Balnarring and Summers in the audience.
We've spoken about this before, but Flinders, not Flinders in particular, but the country town. I mean, it's more of a peninsula town. It's not really a country town, but they do have... when you go through any bakery and it's always winner of best vanilla slice 1984. Yep. They have in Flinders the Guinness World Book of Records largest vanilla slice.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
It's like as big as your head. Wow. It's crazy. Next time you're in Flinders, check it out.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there's one street in Flinders you can't miss.
Yeah. I know the street. Yeah. There is one street. So that was a hot show. Katie Wainhouse, man,
What a murderer.
Murdered.
Yeah.
It was. I was behind the curtain and could feel the room laughing. So it was cool to see her perform. I hadn't seen her actually perform for a couple of years, so that was cool to be on with her. And then Hughesy just got on and just teed off. He's like, I think maybe I'll do an hour, maybe I'll do a bit more, maybe I'll do a bit less. Just vibed it out and just from start to finish, wall-to-wall laughs. Had picked up on all the little things that, myself and Katie had sort of riffed on and spoken to. So that was a cool show. Great people, great brewery, Smart Brothers Brewing in Hastings. Well worth it. One thing that wasn't cool is driving there. It was cold.
Yep.
It was very cold on Wednesday. Driving there, I'm in my car. I'm like halfway through the drive. And then I was like, I don't have a jumper or a jacket in the car. I thought I did, but I had taken it out. So thankfully there was a Kmart around the corner. I had to do the emergency clothes shopping before a gig. So that was thank God for that.
What did you pick up? Just a little
$15
hoodie,
bomber jacket sort of thing there that didn't breathe at all. So I got off stage probably a lot sweatier than I needed to. So that was a cool thing. I had a couple of corporates this week. MC'd a very cool charity corporate function, which was cool for the Body Buddies organisation. So it's sort of raising awareness for organ and tissue donation amongst multicultural communities. So that was very cool. Also, first time I needed to put a suit on for a while.
How'd she fit?
Oof. So I got this suit, and it fit perfectly. I put it on in December. It fit perfectly. I put it on in January. It fit perfectly. February became a dad for the first time, and it does not fit anymore. Yeah. To the point where, as I'm sort of you handheld mic at this one, a lot of corporates, especially if it's MCing, you're just behind a lectern, but I was kind of doing a bit of everything. So I had the handheld mic, couldn't lift my arms up. So I had to do a lot of weird sort of finger gun pointing at different points there. So it was a bit awkward, but hey, it was a great event. It was very cool.
What was the charity? Do you remember?
Body Buddies.
Body Buddies. Go support Body Buddies.
Yeah. How was your week? What's been happening?
I had a huge week, Jules. I know it's a sports podcast, so we'll start with this part of it. But we touched on it briefly last week. But I have qualified for the PGA Tour on PGA 2K25. I was looking sketchy earlier in the week, but I managed to do it, and that was pretty much all I achieved last week. So that was that. I did a gig. It's one of those funny. I'm just used to having the calendar full with gigs, and it has been since the comedy festival, and it is in about 2 weeks. It's chockers, but I've got this weird couple of week gap where I just forgot to book gigs.
Yep.
So I think I've got one. I have booked some stuff, but I'm just oh shit, I got to remember to reach out to people for just open mics and stuff to work on the new stuff. I got a few good gigs booked, but so I only did the one gig last week in front of 3 people.
Great. What gig was that?
It was Central Comedy Club Hotel.
Central Comedy Club
Hotel.
What is
I don't know.
the sensual
No, central, in
central.
the middle.
Okay,
central?
cool.
That'd be
dope.
I'd go to the Central Club
with
and do
3
some comedy.
people. Hey, 3's a crowd, or a very good time.
One of them was a comedian as well, which was always fun. But it's all good if you can get so really 2 real audience members. If you're doing new stuff and if you're first on and you can get 2 people to laugh at some of your jokes, I always take that as a big win. It's sometimes more rewarding than when you go in front of a really hot crowd and you do your tried and true material and that kills. I think sometimes getting an audience of 2 laughing in a very uncomfortable setting is just as rewarding. I don't know what you think.
No, absolutely. I remember speaking to a comedy veteran, Doug Chappell, probably about 12 to 18 months after I'd started comedy. And, he's a 30-year comedy veteran, in Melbourne and tours a lot around the country and has, done gigs for the troops, does cruise, does a lot of stuff. And, I'd asked him, how do you know when you can go to the next level? I was doing all the open mics. I was, out every night and, working on my writing, working on the craft. And he said, look, anyone can crush to a hot room with, 100, 200, 300 people. But if you can get 2 people in an empty room to laugh, that's when you're doing well. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And because before that, and I think it's a really common thing that happens for a lot of comedians, especially newer comedians, is when you rock up to a gig and there's not many people there, you instantly kind of check out and feel disheartened and go through the motions or shit on the gig as well. You see that happen a lot. It's like those people, there might only be 2 people, but those 2 people have given up their time to be there. And sometimes they've given up, a decent amount of money to be there. So it's like, I'm going to give them my absolute best. I feel
100%.
lucky that they've given up that time to be there. So, yeah, and I think sometimes at open mics, it's also not about trying to crush at an open mic. Sometimes you just need to talk things out and hear yourself say things. And so having sometimes a smaller audience, just enough to be able to vibe out a reaction is more than enough.
100%. So, yeah, it's a good attitude to have, and that's kind of what I take into those types of gigs, which I really like.
Yeah, and look, it's I remember one of my the first time where I really felt like, oh, I can do this. There was a small audience. There was 2 people in the room, and I was doing this gig in North Melbourne at Voltaire, which I don't know how many people that's. It's like 45, 50, something 60. Like I don't know. It's one of those modular spaces. So I don't know, but there was only 2 people in there, and every comedian had gone on and gone, this is fucking shit. Like, you're wasting your time, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, I want to go for this. So I went up there and I just said, look, this is weird. There's only 2 of you. There's only one of me. Let's just let's go for this here. You've given up your time. And I just went and I gave probably one of the best sets of my life to that point. To the point where both of those people, they followed me and then they both bought tickets to that year's comedy festival show and bought multiple tickets. So they'd come on different nights.
Wow.
So it ended up, for that gig, it ended up, selling me about 6 tickets, making some fans there. And because I remember their names after the gig when they followed straight away. So I think it just goes to show it's you don't know who's going to actually vibe with you. Just get on there, do it. One of them was crying during the show, and I had that moment like, have I gone too far here? And then she started doing the leg slap. I was like, a leg slap? I didn't know that was a real thing, but yeah, here we go. All right,
real
sweet.
mean slapper.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. And I think, that's the best attitude to have. It is sometimes one of my frustrations, and I'm still relatively new to the game, as you know, but when people just shitting on the gig or whatever, and then it's man, put yourself in the audience's shoes. They've come out, maybe they've got free tickets, maybe they've paid, but worst case scenario, they've at least given up an hour or 2 of their time, of their lives, to come and watch this thing. Yeah, they deserve to be given your best. So, and
also I've seen this happen where some venues don't appreciate the comedians shitting on the gig, and so they just won't do the gig anymore. That means there's less stage time for everyone.
Exactly.
So, got to think about those things as well.
So I did that, and then what else? I went and saw an emo cover band.
I did see that on your social media. Yeah, run us through that.
Awesome. Emo AF, they're called. Yeah. There's a few other bands or whatever, but if you're an old emo head, so we're talking they played all of the mid-noughties hits, Hawthorne Heights, Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy, Paramore. If you're in that kind of vintage like myself, you'll absolutely love Emo AF, they're called.
Cool.
And they killed it. It was great. That was a fun night.
Where was that at?
Stay Gold in Brunswick, which is just down the road.
Yeah, on Sydney Road there,
Just on Sydney Road. So that was fun. Do you have any, you're more punk than emo, eh?
True.
You just saw Offspring?
I just saw the Offspring. One of the things around the birth of the child, why I was like, oh no, he's arrived early, was because there was a lot of cool bands playing, like Pennywise, Millencolin were playing around that time. Lexus on Fire, one of my all-time faves, were playing then. But I get into a little bit of emo, a little bit, but you're definitely more on the punk, the skate punk, the pop punk sort of, maybe less of the pop punk, but that sort of vibe.
Punk. I remember I was 16 and went to Falls. And it was good because you know how it's a big deal, everyone trying to smuggle booze in to Falls. When you're underage, they don't check your stuff. Yeah. Because they're like, they can't drink, so they wouldn't smuggle anything in. For anyone that's going to a music festival, if you're underage, you can bring as much booze as you want because they don't check. But we went in, did all that, and Pennywise were, I think they were bringing in the new year. They were the big name, and we were all skaters, big punk fans. And I just remember, and we were all broke. It was a mountain crew. None of us.
I think
had
I was
any
at
money.
that Falls. Yeah.
Really? Amazing. And I'd bought, with my little money, I'd bought like a $30 Falls Festival hat. Like that was my commemorative thing.
You bought a festival hat.
Festival hat.
Yeah,
like,
cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to commemorate this. At 16, this is one of the biggest things that's ever happened in my life. And in the Pennywise mosh pit, it did get stolen and piffed off, and it really upset me. So that's my memories of Pennywise. But
Cool.
I was a big Pennywise fan. Still am.
Yeah, Pennywise is a great band. Bro Him Live is a huge experience. It goes off. It is absolutely amazing.
Love it. I did love it. And yeah, that was it. Then I went to the footy yesterday, watched my Saints. It's a rough year to be an AFL fan if you're a Richmond or a St Kilda supporter, because that was a tough game to watch. Have you been, when you're having a down season, I think you've got the afterglow of 3 premierships in the last sort of 10 years. Does that make it easier to watch sort of where you're at with the rebuild? You got all these young players coming up? Or?
I think that's the element, is knowing that we're not going to win the grand final, knowing that we're not going to be anywhere near the finals, and it's just about playing the kids and seeing some signs. Richmond supporters historically get very angry very quickly over nothing, and so that's still the case. If you're online, you're still going to see a lot of but it's been fine watching this. It's been like Richmond played against the Bombers, Dreamtime at the G. It was a terrible game of football. Like it was a objectively bad game of football to watch. But, it's like seeing signs in play, seeing Sam Lawler, seeing, Tom Sims and Jonty Fall and, Kane McAuliffe running through the middle. So you're looking for signs versus, you get a win, it's a bonus, but it doesn't really matter at this point.
Love it. Love it. Whereas if you're a Saints supporter and you've never won anything your entire life and we're just in a perpetual state of mediocrity, it does get tough to go and watch.
Yeah, so, St Kilda is...
fuck, man.
Shall we get into these comments?
We probably should start talking about the what's going on.
Okay, so let's go with sort of something cool that happened this week. The honorary smuggler, friend of the show, our favourite athlete, Steph Kyrgios.
Yes, our girl.
She reposted or liked or
she
both?
Just liked it.
She liked.
Yeah,
Come on, Steph. Give us a repost as well. Give us a. Is she following us?
We've turned on her quick.
Is she following? Surely she follows. Is she a follower?
I don't think she follows yet.
Come on, Steph.
Just like we follow.
We love you. Give us a follow. But doing great things on the golf course. Now, in some general comments, Jeff DeAngelis slid into my DMs. I love the Budgy Smugglers podcast. Effing hilarious. Now, Jeff is American as well. And so I'm not sure how much of the references Jeff actually understands, but is enjoying it. Had a little bit of back and forth. Likes to have it on a drive and when he's cooking, just background stuff. And so he kind of tunes in, whilst doing other things. And he thought it was very funny.
Oh,
so,
I love that. Thank you, Jeff. Speaking of Americans, because this was on our YouTubes. This is the post that keeps on giving that still gets comments. You just reminded me. Here be Jams about chatting about the WA rugby team. He said, I might just be some dumb American.
Self-aware, at least.
Yeah. I like how self-aware, because you probably... and then he says, but rugby is rugby, right? Question mark. It's not like ice hockey and field hockey. They're both literally just rugby. Thank you, Here Be Jams. That's 100% right. And the ice hockey and hockey analogy I thought was fantastic, because it's like rugby league, rugby union. We found another one last week, rugby sevens or something. All looks the same to me.
Yep.
But like, it's not like one of them are on ice skating around with a ball.
It's all
crazy,
cricket.
But that was great. And
he gets it.
While I'm on the YouTubes, I did have a good comment on last week's episode. Sometimes people watch and then they'll send me little clips or whatever, but we did get one comment. We were talking about our favourite beers, and then Mr. Blaze, we were ranking our best beers and that kind of thing. And we kind of talked a bit of shit about 4X.
Yep.
And I'd said I'd recently had a 4X beer and it was disgusting. And Blaze jumped in the comments to write, last time I ever give you a 4X, you can't. Which is, sorry, pardon my French. But that's, that's kind of what happened there. Get
angry, Blaze.
No, it's fair enough. Thanks for watching, Blaze. We love it. He also did point out that maybe we shouldn't talk about Olympic silver medalists Caitlyn Jenner ever again. Don't want to get cancelled. Which was good feedback, which is very good. We'll stay in our lane. So, again, we get some great comments. We love all those little things. Like, I do love it when someone sends me a post or DMs me about you shouldn't be doing this.
Especially when it's like their live reaction as well, because then you forwarded that to me and all I can hear is, oh my God, Stevie, stop talking.
Oh, it was fun.
All right, on to the rugby hate. Cullen O'Connor _ bloody hell, so many, and in brackets, justified hate comments for an account with 38 followers.
Well,
that was on TikTok.
We're up to 40 now. Cullen O'Connor. So stuff you. I think we might be up to 41.
Yeah, exactly. So we're building. Give us a follow on TikTok.
Yeah, give us a follow on TikTok because the numbers, he is right. It is a bit sad in terms of follow. We get lots of likes, comments, shares, all that kind of thing. But we do need to build up that following on the TikTok because when people check our profile, we get those kind of... I love the fact that Cullen went into our profile just to do a bit of research on that slam as well.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that, Cullen, the research and the time that it took for you to, look at a number and then include the number in that comment. You've done your own research.
Anyway, go stuff yourself.
Yeah. All right, up next, commenting on Dyson Daniels, the Palmy fiasco,
Disaster.
Which has divided the internet. Luke Gaddy _ commented, hand in your Vic driver's license. And Luke Gaddy, you get it.
You should be handed an award, Luke, because that is 1,000% correct. Hand in your driver's license because that was a disgrace. That's what the one that has got given in-person feedback the most is people say, I can't believe Dyson calls it a palmy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are questioning, where he's from. They're like, is he really from Bendigo or is he from, Broken Hill or somewhere else in New South Wales?
Right.
Yeah,
he's
broken.
Right. I did see, while we're on the subject, I saw a good clip. It was, Lou Williams.
Yep.
One of the best six men of all time, an absolute run and gun shooter, baller. Also famously had several girlfriends at the same time. Bit of a player off the court as well as on the court. Has a lot of game. He was on television somewhere, ESPN or something, and was talking about Dyson Daniels and how impressed he is with Dyson Daniels' off-court game as well, apparently.
There you go.
So when he's not... eating palmies, I'm not gonna go any further with that one. But apparently, a bit of he's got it off the court as well.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Big compliment from Lou Will.
I know, yeah. Game recognizing game. I think that's what's happening there. Imagine how better he would be if he called it Palmer instead of Palmy.
Goodness,
because that would turn some people off.
Oh, definitely.
I would imagine. I have a theory, but I'll get back to the comments. I have a theory that if a politician, like we've just had a big election in the country, to timestamp when this is coming out, which is probably not smart, but if you had a big election, and look, I think most politicians are full of shit, but if a politician, their platform was putting the Palmer next to the chips, not on top of chips, I would vote for them. If that was their whole thing, because there's nothing that annoys me more than when you get your meal and it might even be a steak. It happens less with steak, but it's more with the chicken palm.
Yeah.
That gets put on top of the chips. I hate that. Put it next to the chips so I can also enjoy the chips at my own leisure and not get a lot of chips on the fork at the same time. I don't want that.
I 100% agree. And sometimes because of the heat, it kind of takes the crispiness out of the chips. And then so you got these soggy chips and then you randomly find in chip. I agree with this. If the You heard it here first. First Nation Party or Trumpets of Patriots. Make that your.
They are wildly different ends of the spectrum.
I don't know. I'm just. This is why we don't do politics. What's the one that Pauline Hanson does?
One Nation.
One Nation. Yeah. I went First Nation today. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Caitlyn Jenner. That was a big night last night.
That would be one of my big platforms there. And also too, while we're on this, iced coffee.
Yes,
should cost the same as a hot coffee. There's no reason why iced coffee should cost more, because it does. Oftentimes, it requires less effort.
Yeah,
like. You don't have to like stand there and heat the milk, and different types of milk, because there's about 4,000 different varieties of milk these days. It's like a gender. It's like it sometimes they've got different heat points there. Whereas if it's like an ice drink, you just put it in.
Yeah, in the ice. So there's your number 2. Do you have one more platform?
Let me think.
Mostly been food and beverage related.
True that. I do have another one. If you go through drive-through, all right, say it's McDonald's, Hungry Jack's, KFC, whatever, Guzman,
Yep.
Love a bit of Guzzy. They should put excess chips. They should put your meal in there and then put excess chips in there as well, so that you've got like specialty car chips for the drive, and you don't have to fiddle around with unwrapping things or getting things out. You're just dipping your hands in. Excess car chips.
Very, very good. I would also, on the back of that, as your co-running mate, your vice president, if you will. What do they, vice prime minister?
Yeah.
Is there
Deputy Prime Minister.
I would ban. Have you ever had Bubba Pizza? Is it Bubba?
What?
Big Bubba? Bubba Pizzeria?
Bubba Pizza.
I don't know.
Are you just saying words that could be?
But they had a thing. Where. To your point, which was brilliant, they for $5 you get your pizza, but they fill the side, those empty pockets. They fill them with chips.
Great idea.
Literally $5. There was like 7 chips. Anyone that sells just doesn't meet the expectations of amount of chips. They instantly get out of business.
And also, while we're on this, if you order fish and chips and they don't give you at least an extra potato cake, they're not legit about being a fish and chip
100%
shop. I think that's how you know if you're at a legit place. They give you an extra potato cake or 2. Sometimes, if you're at a really, OG place, you might get an extra dimmy in there, and we love that.
Ooh,
but
that's very rare.
Yeah, it is rare. But extra potato cake. It's like cost 5 cents to make a potato cake. Just give us an extra one. Then you'll get repeat business.
Yeah, that's the sad. You can't see this. Sorry, everyone. I won't even post it. But
okay, just a couple of chippies. That's all you need.
Chips, but for $5, just fill the fucking thing. Sorry. Anyway, there you go. You heard it here first. Vote 1 Budgy Smugglers in 4 years' time, 3 or 4 years' time. Jeremy Dooley.
Yeah.
And you will get the chips that you deserve.
I wonder if we could actually run for Parliament and actually make. I don't know. I mean, there's so many just fools who run for Parliament. So surely
we can run for Parliament.
Yeah, we're fools. We can do that
easily. That sheet is so big.
Yeah.
When you go in there, it's longer than my arms. You're not telling me we can't have little Budgy Smugglers up the top next to the animal and guns and weed party?
Yeah, imagine we got into the Senate.
How much? Do you know how much more chips you would have, Australia?
You would have
in
the
the
biggest
Senate?
plates.
Oh my
chips. The Palmer would not be on top of the chips.
A free potato cake with every fish and chip. Oh my goodness. Speaking of which, this while we're on the subject, we've mentioned her a few times. I've started seeing someone Dools. Doesn't like potato cakes.
Hang on.
Yeah.
It's just potato. That's what do you mean?
I don't know. And I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how much longer she does listen to. She probably hasn't. We're 29 minutes in. She won't make it this far. I don't know if we're going to make it, Dools.
What? I'm genuinely baffled. But what is it about the potato cakes?
I think it's more a conceptual thing because it's just potato and batter fried. Delicious chicken salt, and she just doesn't like them.
That's weird.
It's very weird.
Is it like a a cultural thing?
I think it is cultural.
Surely they would have that in Scotland.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was like you could deep fry a slice of haggis and she'd love it, but like a bit of potato fried. It's literally, potato cakes are my favourite food.
Is it because it's like potato is associated with Ireland and there's like, is there a rivalry there? I don't know.
Is there?
I'm not sure. That's so bizarre.
It's weird, right?
Maybe they need like a different type of herb or spice on top, like a rosemary or a thyme or, nutmeg, a meg.
Hello, call back.
Hey.
Come see us live on the road.
That's bad. I've never heard that.
Anyway, that's a little story about my soon-to-be ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. Ooh. Not into that. I look at her very differently now. I'm not sure next interaction how I'm going to be like, ooh.
Please bring it up.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll give it another shot. Speaking about ex-girlfriends, Jedheads 2112, aka Suze. We love you, Suze. Thanks for getting behind it. She said, ha ha ha. I used to play trivia at the Geelong Sporting Globe, the one where I'm featured on their main page. But then I made the switch to Anything Goes Entertainment's Twisted Trivia, much better host, which was a blatant sort of, I guess,
guerrilla marketing. Is she the host?
No, she's not the host. Blazer's the host.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But we love that. We love that, Suze. We love that you're getting into our comments and promoting Blazers trivia. I guess.
Okay. Now we've got a comedy comment. So this is from the gig that I did on Wednesday with Katie Wainhouse and Husey at Smart Brothers. This person sent me a message after the show and asked the question, or the whole comment was, "Thank you, great gig with lots of laughs. Made my Rosie Zerbst Street. Rosie commented, "Thank you, great gig with lots of laugh. Made my 68th birthday special."
Oh, happy birthday, Rosie!
Happy birthday, Rosie!
What a way to celebrate!
Whole lot of Rosie,
Katie and Husey,
and it was to her partner Keith. There was a Keith in the wild. They sat in the front, and Keith ended up becoming quite a central part of the show throughout the whole show. Not just for his name being Keith, but we found out he likes a bit of manscaping south of the border.
Really? And what's he pushing 70?
73.
73.
Was Keith. Yeah, so they're quite dangly to smoothen those out. It was a big part of the show, and was very good on his advice as well. For those who've seen me perform during the comedy festival, I've got a bit where I asked for advice.
What was his advice?
His advice was, get out of the way and I'll show you how it's done.
That's great.
For getting on the job. So Keith got into it.
Keefy.
So Rosie had a question. Do you always speak to the front row, or how do you decide who you'll talk to during a show? I'll throw to you first.
Oh, do you always speak to the front row? It depends. I think, and I'd be interested to see what you say because we haven't spoken about this, but I will normally speak to the crowd at some point. And then whether it's the front row, the second row, someone up the back will just completely be vibe dependent. Were you emceeing?
Yes.
The show? So it's very different when you're emceeing. You are trying to engage everyone, but you can kind of tell who wants to be spoken to and who doesn't. And then you got to make that call on, does this person want to be spoken to too much? Sometimes I remember we did a show in Darwin together and there was one lady that definitely didn't want to be spoken to. And I kept speaking to her. And
I think it was just by you. She didn't want to be spoken
She just didn't want to be spoken to by me. And then how do we decide? It's, normally I'll speak to a few different people and see what vibes were for whom. But particularly when I'm emceeing, I'll be always speaking to people in the audience, trying to get them engaged that way. What about you, Dools?
It's an interesting one. When I'm emceeing, I will try and bring the audience into the show, but it's not always a matter of me just speaking to the front row because they're in the front row. I feel like that's almost a bit lazy sometimes. So for me, it's like, you're vibing out who, sometimes when you're on stage, you get an idea of who actually wants to be involved and is happy to chat, because you do get some people who you point to them and it's like, oh, they definitely do not want to be spoken to. And sometimes that can be funny, but you don't go back to them repeatedly. You just sort of touch on that. I think it's also a matter of like who you can see when you're on the stage. That's a huge part of it. So
it's a huge part. If you're in a big room, often you can only see the first, second, maybe a bit of the third row, and there might be 50 rows. It's just you're getting blinded in the face and you can't really see anything other than that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're on playing a theatre or in a proper club, it's the lighting system there is very, very powerful, and so you can't actually see that deep into the audience, which is why that appearance of you're only talking to the front row is probably there. When you're doing like a smaller show, a bar show, an open mic, you can generally the lighting system there is terrible and you can see everyone. But when I'm on those shows, I'm not trying to do crowd work. I'm trying to work on material. So it is really, and it depends, so, and in my festival, in my shows, when I'm not emceeing, I do some audience interaction, but they're kind of a bit of a free-for-all for me. It's very rare you'll see me do how long have you been together? What do you do for a job? And those sort of typical questions. I'll try and throw out something a little bit different to get something a little bit different from the audience. Yeah.
I had someone, and it came out of my mouth by accident because I make it a point not to, but as part of a bit of a chat with an audience member, they had met their ex at work, and then I literally said, what do you do for work? And I was like, oh, yuck, yuck. I can't believe I said that, but it was in the context of the bit. But
there are some things that comedians say that, we both fall into it, where you say it and you just like die a little bit, or that cringe. I think the classic one for me that always makes me go, is, what else can I tell you? And that if you're watching a show, you see a comedian say that, they've gotten to the point where like, oh shit, I've forgotten what comes next or what I want to talk about. And so that's just a fill-up bit. I'd rather just stand in silence.
Yeah.
Because it's only a couple of seconds.
It does make that couple of seconds feel like an hour when people do say that as well. The other one, and I learned this early on, this might be influenced by some mentors or whatnot, but it's like when a comedian says, and this is true.
Yeah.
Because it's just saying, because everything else I said was a complete fabrication and lie.
Yeah, that's a big one as well. There's a great act who's based out of WA, Squirrely. I don't know if you've met Squirrely before. He's a fantastic comedian, but he also, apart from doing his own stand-up, as himself, as Squirrely, he does a character act where he is intentionally hack.
Yeah, okay.
It's so funny to watch. I can't remember the name of the character. I'll find it afterwards. But he does all of these things very intentionally. And when you watch him perform, like every now and then you'll see something, it's like, oh my God, do I do that? But then you'll see things and you're like, oh my God, there's someone I know who does all of these things. And it's like, ooh, it's very funny. Anyway, it's been a big week
in sport. Huge week. Here's the biggest news. This was everywhere. Tottenham, the Hotspurs Dools, they won the Europa League. Big Ant stuck it right up him.
He did.
He gets trophies every second year. Tell us all about it, because this was huge. This was everywhere this week. Someone describing this as one of the biggest achievements in Aussie sport, which you're nodding agreeingly. I can't imagine just a coach coaching in an English team as a big marker of Australian sport, but tell me otherwise.
For the how Australia in soccer / football is viewed in Europe is what, like, we're seen as like the ultimate backwater sort of thing. So I guess
fair enough.
Yeah, and like we're on the other side of the world, small, like, national league. Historically have been seen as more battlers and like physically, demanding players, not necessarily skilled, and the coaching, it's like, they're sort of basic. The equivalent would be if, say, someone who was born and raised in England and coaching in like the English version of the AFL, because they've got like a local league, came over here and won the grand final as senior coach.
That's a very good, I haven't thought of it in that manner, but that does put things into perspective a bit.
It's very, so Ange, everywhere he's gone, since leaving Australia has always been a bit like, oh, like why have you got an Australia? Like when he went to Japan, like they were a bit like, oh, that's weird, like Japan probably less so, but he did well there, won the league in his second season, set the team up really well. When he went to Scotland to Celtic, they were, and it's really funny, you can go back and you can look at all the social media, people were losing their mind that they got this backwards coach from this sporting backwater, like there's no way he could be any good. And then he won, I think it was like 5 trophies in 2 or 3 seasons. Like he took the piss there. Yeah. Winning, and not just winning, but dominating. And so then when he's gone to England, it's been the same thing. And it's like not just, he's come from Scotland, he can't be that good, but as he's come from Scotland where it's, he coached the biggest club, so surely like that's easy, and he's Australian. So to be able to do that and win a European trophy is massive. And it was at quite a big risk, as he's now pulled it apart. He sort of said, a couple of months ago, he decided that would be the focus, like they were out of contention because of injuries and what have you in the Premier League. They weren't in Champions League, they'd been knocked out of the Carabao Cup. So it was like, let's go all in on Europa and let's win something here. And they've gone through, they've done it. He's evolved tactically throughout the European thing. And Big Ange, you dead set legend, on the bus afterwards, he sort of said, hey, you all said it wouldn't be done. Look at us now. Yep. Season 3 is better than season 2. And then he came back the next day and said, yeah, sometimes they kill off the main character though in season 3. But he stuck it up a lot of people. Big Ange.
Sure did. That was maybe my favourite part. I couldn't, as a non-football follower, non-soccer follower, just to see the press around him over there, how vitriolic it was and it seemed like mean-spirited and whatever. It's like, it's just a guy that's coaching a soccer team, but like they were going ham at him. So, and then for him to sort of win and, like you said earlier in the season, always wins trophies in his second year, and to win one, and you could just tell it meant a lot to him.
And the players too.
The players
love him. The players get around him because that line of like, I always win in the second season, they were the press there, and the press, like you think the AFL media, it can be a bit full on sometimes. It is like a 0 compared to the football media in England. And so they were hanging that over him all season, like, not a chance, not a chance. And then he's like, get stuffed. I've done it. Ha.
Loved it.
Love that. Stuck it right up him.
Stuck it right up him. Speaking about sticking stuff right into him.
Did you see this?
I saw the photos. This is crazy.
The enhanced games was on recently, and one of the faces of that was Australian swimmer James Magnussen, who had a pretty shit nickname. I think it was like the Missile or something like that.
I'll look it up while you talk it.
Basically, as an Olympian, famously a very clean Olympian, like spoke out about sort of, illicit drug use.
James the Missile Magnussen we're talking about.
Horrible nickname. If his surname didn't start with M, that would have been a different nickname. Like that's
well, he's
how
also
much thought.
known by the Magnet or Maggie for short. So
I like
James the Magnet Magnussen.
The Maggie. The Magpie. The Magpie Magnussen. That almost works more because magpies swoop aggressively and, like he's a sprint swimmer. But so essentially he's retired from, the Olympic swimming sort of movement and, being a national swimmer. He's been retired for quite a few years now and recently joined the Enhanced Games program where basically you are juiced to the gills, and he put on, I think it was 15 kilos of muscle mass, and the photos are bonkers.
It's insane. I'm looking at it right now. He is huge. You've spoken about not being able to fit into a suit. I've also mentioned I'm getting back into the diet, getting back into the gym. It does make you want to take steroids. It really does, because he is a monster.
He is ginormous. And so the whole thing is there was $1 million on the line to break like the world record. He didn't pull it off. And in the sort of reviews afterwards, he spoke about he probably got too heavy and should have done it sort of 7 or 8 kilos earlier when he was sort of at his peak there.
Yep.
But it is just wild. Like I think I reckon that at the Olympics, and it probably won't be in the next few, but at some point they should have 3 divisions.
Yeah.
Right? They should have your standard Olympic clean athlete, okay, which is the pinnacle, I think. They should have the juiced up enhanced version, and they should have normal people. And it's like when you get put into sort of the military, like drafted. They just pull your name out. It's like Stephen Bradshaw, you're doing the 50-meter swim against, I don't know who the Olympic champion is, but also against James Magnussen.
Now you're swimming in Budgy Smugglers territory.
Exactly.
I love this. So it's basically the Olympics are a draft, and everyone's name in the country, they're put in, and this is a real test of how good your country is at sport by getting everyday people of your country. You pull out the name and it's like, all right, Dools, you any good at archery? We better find out because you're going up against some. You're
going up against Michael Diamond.
Yeah, you're going up against Michael Diamond.
No, he was a shooter.
I think that's a great way to decide which is the best sporting country on earth. Just picking people at random, giving them a poll and saying, try to jump over this and just figure it out. And that's a real test. Not these people that train their entire lives and their dream is to go into the Olympics. Anyone could do that. It should just be randos.
Well, because then if you've split into 3 categories. Get Rosie in there, Rosie and Keith. Oh, the doubles, that would be fantastic with them. As long as Rosie hits the right balls, that would be fantastic. But like if you had like the regular person, like if they win a medal, that's like worth double points or something like that. You know, the Olympic champions, you know, the actual Olympic trained athletes, that's just worth your standard points, and the juiced athletes worth half a point. And at the end of it all goes into the same tally then.
Yeah,
and so then you're saying like, you know, hey, like the Romanians, like they're the best of the bunch because they're normal people, they're Olympic people, and they're juiced people have got the most total points. I think that'd be a cool way to do it.
I love that for Romania.
I don't know why I picked Romanians, but you know that's what I think could be a thing.
I kind of like this Olympic draft idea. I'm getting behind it.
And then you could get like a beer company behind it for the Olympic draft, sort of like beer. Like there's so many different things there. Yeah,
product tie-in. I love that.
Like you get Fujitsu, you get Tubby Taylor on there talking about, is there an Olympic draft in your house? We've got the split system on here.
Is he still doing Fujitsu ads?
I love it. I don't know. I hope so.
It's some of the worst ads ever, but I tell you what, surely it sold a ton of air conditioners. All right, you got something?
Yeah. Here's a thing here. I don't know if you saw this.
I did not.
Nick Kyrgios has pulled out of the French Grand Slam at Roland Garros for
Injuries?
a new job.
For a new job?
Yeah.
What job?
What do you reckon? What do you think? From what you know of Nick Kyrgios, what qualifications or what skills do you think he'd be good at?
Like a doorman at a strip joint?
Okay. Yeah.
He's got that kind of a vibe.
He does have that vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know what that vibe is, but yeah, he does have that vibe.
Yeah, a bit of a knob.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
What else could he do? Used car salesman? OnlyFans.
Yeah, I wonder what he'd do on. I mean, tennis racket and balls can do a lot there. It is just a commentary job, but
he's doing commentary.
Yeah, on the actual tournament as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
actually.
It does because he can talk. It's interesting though to pull out of doing the thing to just talk about the thing. I think that's like surely he would make more money just doing the thing.
So he couldn't do both?
Apparently not. Conflict of interest or something.
Didn't him and Chompers, what's his name?
Tony Jones.
Didn't he get stuck into him about that whole Joker thing?
I don't know. Tony Jones has a lot of takes and very few of them are good.
Fair enough. I tell you what is good though. Palmers.
Yeah.
But despite of that, I will relent a little bit on our stance. Dyson Daniels making first team all defense is pretty phenomenal effort. The Great Barrier Thief. Well done, Dice.
Yeah. The Stockadile Dundee. The Dice Man.
Has there been another Australian? Yes. Ben Simmons made a first all defensive team.
Did Bogut make a all defensive team?
Maybe.
Surely. Surely.
reckon at least the second one.
Very accomplished defender was Big Bogey.
I know he made an all NBA third team.
Bogey Man.
The bogeyman. Let's have a look. All defensive second team and first team.
There you go.
There you go.
So Dyson Daniels, maybe not as impressive, but, hey, well done. First time doing it. I reckon it'd be interesting to see next season the makeup of that all defensive team there when Wemby is back and eligible. Who will drop out?
Who else was in the team? It was Mobley, Dyson,
Draymond.
He'll go down for Wemby, I think.
Yeah, Amen Thompson.
Oh, yes, he'll be in there for the next
he's
10.
a lock.
Him and Wemby will be in that team for the next 10 years.
I actually think that for the next 10 years, you can pretty much guarantee that it'll be Mobley, Wemby, and Amen Thompson sort of like cycling through Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Yeah, no, that checks out. But very impressive. Also, obviously, after coming second in Defensive Player of the Year and winning the, what was it? Most improved MIP
player
as well. For a guy that calls it a Palmy instead of a Palmer, it's not bad, I guess.
Do you think
really taking that? We've been pumping him up for how long?
I've been on him all season.
Like, huge fan, and then it's really taken the shine off my former love for Dyson Daniels.
Yeah,
calls it a palmy.
Yeah, I'm just
handing you Victorian driver's license as
Luke Gatty _ says. Yes, we agree with Mr. Gatty there. I was going to say, and now I forgot what I was going to say. It was a very good point, though, and I can't remember. I'll come back to that.
Back to soccer, though. What do you think of that? Arsenal has defeated Barcelona.
I remember. I remember the
go.
point. Do you think, because he calls it a palmy, do you think he has a position on the potato cake, potato scallop?
If he calls it a scallop potato, we can ship him off to New Zealand, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'll have no time for him. If he there's no way he'd call it a scallop, potato scallop.
Sure, I don't find out.
Because like potato, what do they call scallop potatoes?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's a whole different dish.
Yeah.
When I lived in New South Wales, and
when did you live in New South Wales?
I was there. Yeah, no, I was there for a little while, and I remember going to a fish and chip shop by the beach and ordering a potato cake, amongst other things. And they're like, potato scallop, I think you'll find. And I was like, whatever, dickhead. What? And I thought I was going to get like scalloped potatoes in a bag.
Yeah.
And thankfully, it was a potato cake.
Yeah, the greatest food to love.
Don't confuse them. You know, would you rather though?
Okay.
So your lovely partner. What's more palatable? Not liking potato cakes at all, or calling them potato scallop? That's a tough one for me. I don't know.
Potato scallop would be worse. Yeah.
Same.
I think so. Yeah.
Because not liking potato cakes, like, she doesn't know what she's missing out on.
Yeah,
calling them potato scallops is actively
I'll tell you what,
an
she'll
act
be
of
missing
war.
out on me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a game ender.
Missing out on Stevie D, I think.
Hey, who's Bailey? If you know, you know. But yes, Arsenal has defeated Barcelona 1-0 in the UEFA Women's Championship League final. 3 Aussies in this one. Caitlin Ford and Steph Catley took the field for the Gunners, and then their Matilda teammate Kyra Cooney-Cross was an unused substitute. 3 players in Arsenal. They won. That's huge.
It is massive. It's been a real European Aussie takeover. As we even had someone in Eurovision. So, like, it's all the Aussies are taking over Europe.
What did we do in Eurovision?
A song of a guy. I can't remember his name, but he wore lots of denim. And the song was about like milkshakes or something like that.
Ugh.
Didn't do well. Not Australia's best Eurovision sort of performance, but hey, we are taking over Europe. And like Caitlin Ford, Steph Catley is a G. Like, she is a fantastic player. Should be the permanent captain of the Matildas, in my opinion, not just, sort of the fill-in captain. She's an absolute jet. So
killing it. Well
done to there. And to beat Barca as well. Like, that's such a huge, huge club, huge organisation. So well done to the girls over there for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And a real London sort of thing there. Tottenham and Arsenal, big rivals historically, but hey, we love them here because they're doing it for the Aussies.
Yeah, it's all for the Aussies. Absolutely love it. Speaking of Aussies, Molly Picklum, I saw this morning, is into the semis in Margaret River.
Guacamole.
I've been enjoying watching this duels. That wasn't on this weekend because of the surf was no good, but very early this morning for Perth time, Molly Picklum got up and she's
would have been
in
the dark
semis. I know. But yes, we'll have more to report on that next week.
Yeah. Now, it's no secret to anyone. I do love a big torp in footy. Love it when someone gets out the barrel. Yeah, it is out now in public. It's in the public domain. And there was a huge torp in the VFL just down the street, actually. At Coburg. There's my old team there where I worked and played, Coburg Lions. But it was from one of the Sydney Swans defenders, Jordan Enderman, right near defensive 50.
What?
It's huge.
The hell? Is it a goal?
Yeah, it goes all the way through.
He's kicked that from defence.
It's massive. We'll chuck it on there if we can. But he's basically gotten the ball.
My God.
It's wild. Handball receive on the halfback flank and just unloads, and it just keeps going and going and going. And then it bounces through for a goal.
I will clip this up and put this on the socials for anyone listening at home. Don't worry, you'll be able to see it in the next couple of days on our social media platforms. But that is the most insane goal I've ever seen in my entire life.
It is a fantastic goal. Huge top. Jordan Endman.
Oh, he's ending men, all right. That is the greatest kick I've ever seen in my entire life.
And it's also good, it's hard because it's against my team, Coburg, the Lions, on Harding Street there. So
it's carried. It looks like it's so carried far. 90 to 100 meters. Was it windy? Were you there?
I wasn't there. I was working, but. Yeah, I mean, it's not a massive wind tunnel of a ground at Coburg, so it's a just perfectly timed super boot there. Jordan Enderman.
Well done, Jordan Enderman.
So what's from your illustrious football career, what's the biggest, longest goal you've ever kicked?
I didn't kick too many long ones. It was my first game playing Rezzies for Mountain South Panthers. So I would have been 18.
A lot of Panthers in Mountain South.
And I was about 55 out against the Bloods at Mackey Park. I'm sure all those words make sense to the listeners. But yeah, about 55 out. And then because I was so far out, no one thought I could make the distance. And then so there was no one on the goal line, and it just over the back of the pack, landed just before the goal line and went through. What about you?
Right. It's probably not This is the one where I probably thought was going to be the biggest goal, like because of the wind factor and everything like that, and it ended up being. And actually, what I thought I was going to kick the ball the furthest, maybe not from the furthest out, but I thought I was going to kick it out of the stadium. So I was playing for Coburg against North Ballarat, and I'd marked the ball about 35, 40 meters out. Pretty reasonable angle, and had the wind behind me, and I thought, I'm gonna sink the boot through this. All the players just have a shot, Dools. I have a shot, kick the goal. I was playing against a North Melbourne listed defender as well, so it was going to be, I think it was Kieran Harper or someone like that. But I thought, all right, this is, I'm going to have a go here, and lined up, timed it perfectly off the boot. I thought, this is going through post high on the roof, I thought, of Mars Stadium in Ballarat there. And then the wind turned, barely cleared the man on the mark.
No.
And then for the rest of the season, that was used in the edits every week. Hey, remember that time Dools couldn't kick the ball more than 5 meters? So that was good.
There's nothing worse than... I remember one of my first games when I made a comeback in my early 30s. I was playing good footy, but then you like 30 meters out and can't make the distance because you're just like in your head about it because you haven't played in so long.
I remember once missing from 10 meters out. Like I barely scraped it in for a point.
Yeah.
And I'd been running my mouth relentlessly in the minute or two leading up to that. So there was a bit of a shirt front situation where like, you know, I was coming from one side, the centre half back, and I'm only 180 centimetres, so there's not a lot of me, and we both collided and I got the free kick, for too high. And I was probably concussed in that moment, and the players remonstrated. I got the free kick and a 50-metre penalty, so I was 10 metres out, and the whole time I was like running my mouth. I don't know what I was saying because I was so like KO'd and lined up 10 metres out. I thought, fuck yeah, this is going straight through. Off the side of the boot, barely made it in for a behind. Nearly went out on the full 10 metres out. So that was fun.
That's a good one. I remember when I was playing league, rugby league.
Yeah, okay, wow.
I only played for one season and I'd made the rep team. We'd gone on a trip or whatever. And I was kind of like, well, I was basically one of the best 10 rugby league players in Victoria, under 16. And I think which was pretty good considering there was 15 of us. And I just remember playing one game. It was against, I want to say Kilmore, maybe.
Yep, that's a place.
That is a place.
That would have rugby.
They have if you know, Caleb Highland talks about this a lot. They have a Chinese restaurant there. It's called Kilmore Chinese. Anyway, that's his closer. Sorry to give that away, K-Dog. But I was feeling myself, like you just reminded me, talking a lot of shit. And I remember I just went, ran through the line, palm off, spun around, and I did like a Ric Flair, woo, and then just ran down and scored a try. And then, so it was pretty, definitely feeling myself, very arrogant, but they had a prop that was about 6'2".
What sort of prop was it? Like a hat?
Yeah, it was a hat with like a spinny thing.
It was like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, he brought a whole bag out and he was just like, it was Carrot Top. We were playing against Carrot Top. But huge, just a big Islander boy, and I was so confident about how I was going. I took him on, and so I went straight into him, and all he did was fall, just straight on top of me. But I had the ball here, and so big fat guy, ball, sternum, crushed. And then, so I'm just out. I can't breathe. I couldn't play for weeks after this. And then the whole time I'm on the ground, like getting carried off, and everyone's going, woo! Which was pretty funny. I deserved it.
Sounds it.
All right. I got a big question for you, Dools.
All right, let's hear it.
Olympian Dean Hewitt, who's
Leighton's
in what sport?
Cousin.
Leighton's cousin, says Australia's ability to grow the sport of curling.
Of course, curling, yes.
Curling, you knew this.
Of course, Dean Hewitt.
Is being hindered by the lack of a purpose-built facility, Jules. Do you think if we had a curling facility that the sport of curling will rocket up into the hearts and minds of Australians everywhere if we could just have one curling purpose-built facility?
Where would you put it?
Oh,
You'd want it somewhere where there's, like there's not...
Alice?
Yeah, because then you get the novelty there. Look, I think they need to get it in primary schools. I think that's
what they should be teaching?
That's where they're going to, build up the curling community. Start them young. Get it in kindergarten, childcare. All they need then is a hallway, put a bit of detergent there so it's a smooth hallway and get everyone a giant hockey puck. Or if you can't find a giant hockey puck, you want one of those big wheels of cheese.
Yeah, I was thinking one of those cheese wheels. But this could be a master plan if parents, you're a new parent, very fresh parent.
Yep.
So we could be talking about your little one, but it's a great way to fool kids into cleaning the house. Because you could just get them sweeping,
cleaning,
and brushing, and doing all that kind of stuff in the house, and you're like, no, I want you to be. It's just an Olympic curling lesson.
Yeah,
I like that.
Would you, thinking about the regular person, Olympian, enhanced athlete, like curling, if you were juiced up to the gills, would be probably not the most fan-friendly sport because it would be just like, okay, cool, like we're done.
Yeah.
Because the person sweeping would just sweep. Like you'd need special ice,
Yes.
I think. Imagine though, the enhanced one and they're on ice. Like that is, oh man, they don't need to be juiced up. Just give them a bit of,
We could build it in Frankston.
be great.
Frankston would be a good spot for it.
Frankston would be a good spot, yeah.
The big curling, what do they call it? The curling emporium down at Frankston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hub.
Ugh, curling. Olympian Dean Hewitt says this is the dumbest sentence I've ever heard. Ability to grow the sport of curling has been hindered by the lack of a purpose.
That's really what's holding it back.
It is really what's holding it back, Dean. Our bad. Lastly, before we get to, we'll finish off on your top 5, Dools.
Okay.
We do have NBA Finals potential. Aussie versus Aussie. Ingles versus Furphy. So if Minnesota, not looking too crush hot, to be fair, it looks like it's.
I mean, they
OKC.
belted them yesterday.
That is true. The first home game. So that's a possibility. And then the Pacers are just looking gangbusters. I don't know. Are they playing right now?
They're playing right now.
Not too sure how that one's gone.
They are up by 13 points.
There we go. So it looks like led spearheaded by Johnny Furphy, a Budgy Smugglers favourite, that Indiana's, which is crazy. No one picked them. Did anyone pick them?
What's the guy who always comments about Johnny Furphy? with
Bruno.
us? Bruno would be, he'd be so up and about now.
He will be very excited.
Running around Clifton Hill.
But if Minnesota get through and they play against Indiana, I want you to predict Ingles and Furphy's stat lines.
I tell you what, for any of them to get a stat line, there's going to be some big blowouts there. I think Joe Ingles will hit a 3,
really?
maybe an assist, and definitely a foul. I think Furphy will put up some 3s, probably not hit them, and might get a rebound.
This has 1999 Andrew Gaze championship level stat lines.
Whoa! That's the GOAT there. That's the king. Andrew Gaze was a huge part of the team.
Yes.
Number 10 for the San Antonio Spurs. I've got that jersey at home.
Do you?
I do. Yeah.
That's dope.
Autographed by the great man himself. I think. I would like to see, if I had to pick between one or the other, you want Minnesota to win for Ingles.
Yep.
He's towards the end of his career, if not the end of his career.
Could be his last go around.
End on a high. Johnny Boy's got plenty of years left in the system.
Love it.
All right, top 5. Now, I've got a top 5. There's been a lot of stuff in sport this week. A lot of, I think manufactured sort of tension between sort of, past players, especially in AFL, past players and coaches and other coaches and stuff like that. And I just think, of some of them, it's like, that person, I'm not into them. So this is my top 5 worst AFL personalities to go on a road trip with.
Okay, what? So, sorry, can you say that one more time? I was, just for the listeners at home, just to confirm, I don't know what the top 5 is anyway, and it continues to surprise me. What was it again? Top 5?
Top 5 worst Aussie AFL personalities to go on a road trip with.
Okay, so is this in the media? Is this players?
Could be player, could be a coach, media, past player, anything AFL or AFL adjacent where you just think, I don't want to be stuck in a car with this person. Like, I'm talking road trip where it's like middle of nowhere. You don't have range. Yeah, your streaming of music isn't working. The radio reception's not there. So you got to have conversations. So that's what I'm really talking about there. So coming in at number 5,
yes,
we have got Kane Corns.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he is just making a career out of saying dumb things for hot takes that I don't think he probably agrees with. And in a car ride, that would be infuriating after 30 minutes. He doesn't have good vibes to him. I think he'd be a bit of a drainer on the trip. Like, if you saw that you're like, I got to sit next to Kane Corns for 7 hours, you'd not be excited about that.
Okay.
That would be not fun. Coming in at number 4, Your boy, Ross Lyons.
What?
I
Ross
think
would be great in the car. Are you
Ross,
kidding me?
the boss, he speaks in a monotone voice. He's got a weird walk. Thankfully, the car trip would sort of limit the amount of walking. He's got a weird sort of, his arms do something weird. I don't know. It's weird it's uncomfortable to look at. And I think he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. So, that would just be a drainer. So I wouldn't be into that.
Yep.
Number 3, Bailey Smith.
Oh, he would be rough.
He would drain it because as well, like he lives on social media. So not having and having to converse. Oh my goodness. And I mean, the good thing about being in a car ride with him is that he would do all the talking. It would just all be about Bailey Smith. So that would be just very difficult to listen to there.
Did you see someone posted on his social media? He put up a photo and someone said, "Nose beers after the game, mate?" ? And he responded, this is from his official account, nah, bro. After the flag, maybe though.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And he's then posted no, I'm just joking. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
That's
definitely.
Yeah, you don't have jokes, Bailey. You don't have jokes. So he's in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 of my top 5 AFL personalities who I wouldn't want to go on a road trip with.
Title's getting out of control.
Yeah, it's we're getting big on the titles. I'm going to go with Sam Newman.
That would be a rough drive.
It would be a rough one because, again, because you're also then thinking about the makeup of this road trip. And so you can't have him, Kane Corns and Ross Lyon all in a car together because they all think that they're the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, true.
And Sam Newman's got some ridiculous takes. I'm not talking about he's got some takes beyond football, but his football takes are terrible. You played in a different era. We get it. You were good in that era, but we are not in that era anymore. So shut up.
Yep.
That would be one. And number 1.
Better, worse than Sam Newman, Kane Corns, Ross Lyon is stiff. But Baz Linker, there's someone you'd least like to share a car ride with.
Yep. So you'll notice a theme here of all of the things here. This person breaks a theme. I'm talking about, he's been mentioned so far, Chompers Tony Jones.
Yeah, that would be.
Jesus.
He would do my head in.
Because at least the others have played the game at the highest level and have achieved things in the game, whether they were fantastic players or, bit players or good role players. Doesn't matter. They've all played the game. Tony Jones has a lot of opinions, thinks very highly of himself. He's got those big chomper teeth. So even when he's not talking, if he's just chewing, you just hear the doom, 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 doom of his teeth. He's got a head that I'm not into. And, he annoys a lot of people and he would be very annoying on this car ride. That's my top 5.
Your bottom 5 almost.
Yeah.
That one really.
My top 5 of the bottom 5.
I can't wait to see what's next. Have you got something in mind for next week?
It always just pops up during the week.
Yeah.
I see there was a lot of stuff about or some of those people. Kane Corns getting into it with Beveridge and Ross Lyon getting into it with Hardwick this weekend, and Bailey Smith's always in the media for something. And Tony, he just is annoying. Sam Newman just annoying.
Yep.
Grow up.
Fair enough. That is us, Dools.
Yep. What do you got on?
Anything else?
What do you got on this week?
Oh, I do have a couple of gigs, but I don't know when or where. So it looks like I'm on a itty bitty tomorrow night, if anyone's interested. And somewhere else.
Yep. Okay. You've got a big one this week.
Go have a nap.
I have got this week on Wednesday the 28th. I am playing at the Altona Sports Club with
hell yeah.
Ray O'Leary, Daniel Connell, and Joe White. So that'll be...
Jesus, that'd be a good gig.
That'll be a good one. Thursday the 29th, I'm on at Comedy Republic with Simon Taylor, Huang. Trying to think who else is on that lineup. It was a very good lineup as I bring it up very quickly here. Meg Jager, Carmelo Costa, and again, Dan Connell. You'll be sick of me by the end of this week. Old DC. And then Saturday, I'm at Roxburgh Park Football Club, the Magpies.
Oh, the Magpies. Going to go back. What was that game?
I don't know. You cleaned them out last year.
Last year, I did this one. AC Doocy. It's a game that the Roxburgh Park Footy Club have invented. And I can't remember how it works or why it works, but I remember for that gig I got paid cash, and I think I quadded up my monies. You
made a lot more money than every other comedian.
I'm not welcome back in Roxburgh Park since, because they were filthy. To the point where I had to keep playing to like give them back some money, because there were people there saying, this has never happened in the history of AC Doocy before. This is insane. And they were supportive at first. They quickly turned against me. Then I made sure to lose some hands and bail.
Yep, so that'll be a good one. Are
you going to play AC? You should play AC Doocy.
Well,
just one hand.
I might play one hand. I might convince. I'm on with...
Who you got on?
Gary Johal, Matt O'Neill, and Evan Hocking.
Evo will get them.
Evo will get around
get
it.
Go AC Doocy.
It'll be a fantastic night. It's always a good one.
Tell them about the pod. They might not.
Oh yeah, I will. Yeah. So
love those boys. Love you guys. AC Doocy, greatest card game of all time. Get around that. But upcoming gigs, I do want to plug Comedy Night at the Union Hotel in 2 weeks' time, Saturday, 7th of June. Tickets are selling quick. It will sell out. You did it last year. That's going to be awesome. And then 4 comedians, 4 beers at Ocean Reach Brewing on Saturday, the 21st of June. Me and Dools will be there. Tickets have really started moving. So, and I imagine we're 4 weeks out. So they're going to start pumping. Get your tickets for that soon. Also, next Friday, I'll be back at, I think it's next Friday, June 6th. I'll be back at the Nash in Geelong to MC that one. And I think I'm going to finagle it, so it'll be my 500th gig, Dools.
There you go.
Love that.
Congratulations. 500 gigs. That's fantastic. Well done.
Cheers. And that's it for the Budgy Smugglers. Anything else? Anything else you want to plug?
We'll see you next week.
See you later, Smugglers.
Bye.
Oh.